Yo, what's up? We're back with some more Kaiju number 8, the game. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I got 300,000 in the new chapter event. I'm going to be showing you 3 teams. One with the new Kikoru, one with Chester, and one team without both of them. First, I'll show you the team with Kikoru. Now, if you don't have Sagan, you're going to need Kaiju number 8 at A4. And the reason for this is because at A4, he can heal 10% of his attack every single time you use the normal attack. If you don't have his A4, you're going to need Sagan. If you don't have both, then it's going to be tough for you to get 300,000 because the point threshold to get 300,000 is very tight. So that's going to be the first requirement. Second requirement is going to be you're going to need a very strong DPS. I'm going to be running the new numbers 10 Hoshina. I have him on a full legendary set, lizard type, on attack, crit rate and speed. It's also very important for him to be very fast. I have his signature weapon. If you don't have his signature weapon, you can also run the other one, the one that gives him speed. This is also very good. And as for the new Kikoru, you can run her on either a DPS set or in my opinion, the best set for her is going to be the Wyvern set. As for the middle piece, you want her to be on effect hit rate instead of crit damage. And as for the boots, it's better to give her speed rather than blunt damage. I am also running her weapon, but you don't need to. You can also run this one or even the 4-star one. It doesn't really matter because she's not really there for damage. And for the last spot, you can either run Reno or Tay. You can also even run Furuhashi if you want to. But basically, this last spot, you're going to need to run a dual typing, elemental typing and a normal typing. So you can either run Reno or, like I said, Tay. If you're lacking DPS, then you can just run Reno. But sometimes if you run Reno, you can have too much damage that you won't be able to break the plates on the boss twice. Alright, so that's the team. But before you go into the fight, you want to rearrange your unit. You want the battle buddy to be like this. And there's a reason to it because you're going to be breaking the plates with your Tay and you want your Hoshina to follow up so that he can get out gauge. Alright, so when it comes to this team or this content in particular, the target for you is going to be killing the boss within 4 rounds and breaking the plates on the boss at least 2 times while also minimizing the damage that you take. So turn 1, you're going to go ahead and use your Kikoru's ultimate, whittle down the 2 adds. You're going to be killing the 2 adds with your Hoshina, or you can also kill the 2 adds with your Kikoru as well. If you are running a DPS Kikoru, she should have enough damage. And then when it comes to Hoshina's turn, just use his combat skill. You want to alternate between his combat skill and his skill 1 because you don't want to do too much damage. When it comes to Kaiju number 8's turn, only use his skill 1. You won't be using his combat skill at all. And when it comes to Kikoru, you also want to alternate between her combat skill and skill 1 as well. When it comes to Tay's turn, always use her combat skill because her single target normal attack is only a single typing. Okay, right here you can go ahead and kill the 2 adds, but since my Hoshina is going to be moving before the boss, you can wait 1 more turn. If your Hoshina is not moving before the boss gets his second turn, then you're going to have to use your AoE skill during that turn just now. Again, keep in mind, always use your Kaiju number 8's normal attack for you to heal up and also taunt the boss. You can go ahead and use your skill 1 on your Kikoru and ult with her, again to whittle down the 2 adds, so to make sure that your Hoshina can kill with his AoE. Combat skill with your Tay. Again, when it comes to Tay, you can use Reno. You can also use Furuhashi because Furuhashi is also dual typing. You want a unit that has dual typing on both their combat skill or their ultimate. Okay, you're going to be saving your Hoshina's ult for when the boss is out of plating. Keep using your skill 1 on your Kaiju number 8 to heal up. You also want to save up all of your ults on your other units because they're mostly just there to break the plates on the boss. So don't use their ults just yet. You can go ahead and use his AoE right here. And then when it comes to Tay's turn, you're going to be using her combat skill. And this should break the boss's plates. Now you can go ahead and ult with your numbers 10 Hoshina. Transform him into a pure single target attack. Because at this point, you don't really need to kill the 2 adds anymore. You just need to break the plate on the boss 1 more time. And then you can kill off the boss. Alright, you can go ahead and use his combat skill. It should do a lot of damage. 39,000, not bad. Alright, Kikoru should get the ultimate right here, but you don't want to use it. You want the boss to get his turn first. Now you can go ahead and use your ult on everyone. Because again, they're mostly just there to break the plates on the boss, nothing else. Again, you don't have to kill the 2 shoulders anymore. Tay is good because she has dual typing on both her combat skill and the ultimate. You need units like this. Alright, at this point you can just keep using your combat skill on your Hoshina. Keep using your Tay's combat skill, single target with your Kaiju number 8, normal attack with your Kikoru. We can break the plate on the boss with Kikoru's turn, if I'm not mistaken right here. Again, you don't need to kill the 2 shoulders anymore. Oh, never mind, we break the plates with Tay, and this should give your Hoshina the ultimate because it's going to do a follow-up attack. And with his ultimate, you should be able to kill the boss. Alright, you've broken the plates on the boss twice. That should give you 50,000 points. And when you kill the boss within 4 rounds, this should give you 120,000 points. And because you keep healing with your Kaiju number 8, you're gonna get, I think, a further 120,000 points from the damage taken one. And there we go, 300,000 with Tay. Okay, I was mistaken. The damage taken score goes up to 130,000. Alright, let's move on to the second team. I'm on my main account right now. And I've managed to hit 300,000 on this account as well. For the second team, I'm going to be showcasing this Chester team. First unit you're going to need is going to be Reno, or again, a strong DPS. But Reno is going to be the best because he also has the dual typing. He needs to be very built for this to work. He is on fungal type unipart with attack, crit rate and shot damage, full legendary. His weapon is at level 100, A0. His skill is at 9, 7 and 9. When it comes to your Chester, you want him to be using the 4-star weapon because the speed up buff is going to be very important. As for the Unipart, I have him on the Wyvern type, full legendary as well, attack, alt gauge rate and speed. The middle piece is very important for you to have an alt gauge rate piece. Otherwise, he won't be able to get the ultimate within 3 turns. Now, next unit is going to be Hoshina. This guy is also going to be very important because his passive skill gives you 25% speed to your battle buddy when you use his combat skill or ultimate when you have 2 or less SP. He is also on a full Wyvern type unipart. It's better to give the boots speed stat rather than slash damage or anything else. The gloves and the armor does not matter at all. As for the weapon, he is using the SW2033 for the speed, very important. I have him at A6 but I don't think you need it because his A6 only triggers when you defeat a Kaiju with your battle buddy, which I'll explain why it doesn't matter in a bit. And as for the last unit, you either need to run a Sagan or Kaiju number 8 at A4. The reason for this is because they heal with their ultimate or their skill 1 if you have Kaiju number 8 at A4. And they are also a taunt blunt DPS unit. Sagan's a little bit better because she is dual typing, so she helps with the elemental plating. As for the unipart, you don't really need to run the armored unipart. The best set for this content in particular is going to be the speed unipart. But if you don't have the speed unipart on her, you can literally just run any unipart on her. I have the signature weapon for her, but you don't need it. She's not going to be your main DPS. As for the arrangement, you want to run the battle buddy of your Hoshina with your Sagan, because you need to constantly give her the speed up buff. Since you have only one blunt DPS in this team, you need your Sagan to move a lot of times. Alright, let's go in. When it comes to this team, it's very tricky because you are going to be playing around with Hoshina's passive. But since you are running Reno, which can give you plus 1 SP randomly when you cast his combat skill, it can be a bit of trouble when you do proc it. Alright, turn 1, Chester, just use your combat skill to give your entire team the speed up buff. That's going to be very important. Your Hoshina's turn, go ahead and buff up your Reno to give the speed up buff to your Sagan. And you want to apply the taunt on the boss. If you fail to apply the taunt, just reset the run. Alright, when it comes to Reno's turn, you need to one-shot the ads within the 2 turns that you get with your Reno. Because if the boss moves twice, the boss will do an AoE attack if he still has the shoulders on him. Alright, go ahead and use your skill 1 on your Hoshina. And we got unlucky because my Reno gave me plus 1 SP. Go ahead and use your Chester skill 1 as well to further break the plating. Alright, when it comes to your Sagan's turn, you want to use her skill 1 as much as possible when the boss has plating. If he resets her, okay, we got really unlucky. He reset the SP once again, and we're gonna have to reset the run. If he resets the SP twice in a row, you just reset the run. Okay, Reno finally did not decide to give me plus 1 SP. Now, this is going to be very important because when you get to Hoshina's turn, you want to reapply the buff and the speed up buff to your Sagan. Again, you want to keep the buff at all times. When it comes to Chester's turn, you can go ahead and reapply his buff as well. And you can go ahead and ult with him. The boss will be incapacitated because you've killed the 2 shoulders. You want to use your skill 1 on your Sagan as much as possible. Use your skill 1 on Hoshina. You can also ult with him, but make sure you use your combat skill on your Reno first. We can go ahead and just ult. I was hoping that my Reno wouldn't give me the plus 1 SP, but it's fine. You can go ahead and ult with your Hoshina to give the speed buff to your Sagan again. You're getting really unlucky with this run. Okay, use your skill 1 on Chester. You want to save your Reno's ultimate for when the boss regenerates his 2 shoulders right here. Okay, we got really unlucky because the boss attacked my Reno instead. We might not be able to get 300,000 this run because my Reno got attacked. You can go ahead and ult with your Reno. Again, you also don't want to do too much damage. So ulting with your Reno when the boss has plating is very good, so that you don't do too much damage. And also when it comes to freezing or not freezing the boss, there's also going to be some RNG there. If you freeze the boss, it's actually going to be worse for you because you actually want the boss to move rather than the boss being out of the plating for a longer period of time. You can go ahead and reapply the taunt and spam your ultimate on your Sagan. This way you can also break the plate with her ultimate and regain some of the ult gauge. Go ahead and rebuff your Reno and apply the speed buff to your Sagan once again. Right here you can also use your Sagan's combat skill if you fail to land the taunt, but since we got the taunt up, you can go ahead and use the skill 1. We reset again with Reno. Okay, right here, buff up with your Chester to reapply the speed buff to your entire team. You want to rebuff your Reno once again because you want the speed up buff on your Sagan at all times. Now right here it's going to be very important for you to get Sagan's ultimate once again so that you can heal up her HP. But when the boss has a plating, you want to use her skill 1 as much as possible. Right, use his skill 1 and then you can also ult with him. Right now my Sagan is not moving before round 4 ends, but when I get my ultimate with my Hoshina, she should be able to outspeed the round 5. We're gonna use the combat skill first to get my SP below 2. Use her skill 1 to break the boss's plating even further. We got her ultimate, but we're not gonna be using it yet. Buff up your Reno. We might be in a bit of trouble, but I think, hold on, let me just ult with him right now, even though I'm not getting the speed buff, because I can't really afford to use my combat skill on my supports too much. And I think with the speed buff, okay, nice, she's moving 1 extra time. Use your combat skill on your Reno. Make sure you don't kill the boss before you break the plate on the boss. Alright, hopefully the boss, okay, the boss is not moving. Now we should be able to break the plate on the boss, but hopefully you don't kill the boss. Alright, this one, and then we can go ahead and ult with her. This should break the plate. You can also ult with Reno if you don't have enough damage. And I think that should be enough damage. Let's see. My Reno did take a bit of damage, so we might not reach 300,000 just because of that. So there's gonna be a bit of RNG when it comes to this team. Okay, we killed the boss. Let's see, I think we're gonna land at about 297,000. Oh, nice. We did get 300,000, so we still managed to get the full amount of damage taken score of 130,000. Alright, moving on to the last team. This is going to be as free to play friendly as I can think of. Everyone has the same set as the previous team, but I'm just going to show you once again for those who skipped the video. Reno is on a full DPS set on the fungal type, attack, crit rate and shot damage. His weapon is at level 100, Ascension 0. Now instead of using Chester, you're going to be using Mina. And you want to use Mina with the 4-star weapon. Again, this weapon is going to be very important for the speed buff. As for the Unipart, I have her on the Wyvern set again with speed boots. These 2 pieces does not matter. She is also Ascension 6, but you don't really need to get her Ascension. It doesn't matter that much. Next up is Sagan. Again, if you don't have Sagan, you're going to need a for Kaiju number 8. But the reason for this is because she heals with her ultimate skill. And lastly, it's going to be Hoshina, because you still need to play around with his passive that gives you plus 25% speed. And again, for the arrangement, you want the Hoshina's battle buddy to be Sagan. This team has the same playstyle as the previous team with Chester, but the rotation is going to be slightly different. Alright, turn 1 is going to go to your Hoshina, but you won't be buffing up because it's going to be pointless. And when it comes to Mina's turn, go ahead and buff up your Reno. Now, there's going to be some turns where you don't buff up your Reno, but instead you buff up someone else, because if you keep buffing up your Reno, you're going to be doing too much damage. Okay, so Reno's turn, you hope that your Reno doesn't give you plus 1 SP. If he does, then you're going to change the rotation up a little bit. Land the taunt on everyone, or just the boss. If you don't, then just reset. Now you're going to buff up with your Hoshina, but not your Reno. If you buff up your Reno, you're going to do too much damage. So right here, you can either buff up your Mina, or buff up your Hoshina himself, right? Alright, Mina's turn, you can go ahead and use your skill 1 on the boss to start breaking the plates on the boss. Sagan's second turn, go ahead and use her skill 1. You're gonna reapply the taunt when the taunt goes away. And then, oh, we got unlucky. So we got plus 1 SP right here. But it's gonna be fine because it was still gonna drop to 2 SP. Now you can go ahead and buff up your Reno. Alright, Mina's turn. Go ahead and use her skill 1. The boss is out of taunt. You can go ahead and use your taunt on your Sagan. Nice, we landed it. Use your skill 1 on Hoshina. Wait one extra turn. If you don't get the +1 SP, then you can go ahead and use your ultimate on your Hoshina. If you don't, just wait one extra turn. And you're gonna save your ultimate on your Reno for when the boss regenerates his shoulders. Alright, Mina's turn, you're gonna buff up with your Mina. And the reason for that is because you want to lower your SP to 2. Then you can ult with your Hoshina. Now you don't want to buff up your Reno because you're gonna do too much damage. So just buff up anyone other than him. Now that your SP is at 2, you can go ahead and ult with your Hoshina. You can also ult with your Reno right here to kill the shoulders. And your Sagan gets her ultimate right here. You can also go ahead and use it. If you don't have an A4 Hoshina, then you're gonna need to wait one extra turn for your Sagan to use her skill 1, then she gets her ultimate. Go ahead and buff up your Reno once again. Also give the speed up buff to your Sagan. And right here, you can break the plate with your Sagan's S1. This will also help her build her ult once again. Use your Reno's combat skill. Now sometimes you're gonna do too much damage, so you're gonna have to be cautious a little bit because you need to break the plates on the boss one more time. If you also land a freeze, your rotation is gonna be slightly off as well. You might need to tune it a little bit, but since we got lucky, we didn't freeze the boss. I know, it sounds crazy. You don't want to land the freeze on the boss because you need the boss to move to reapply his plating so that you can remove it the second time, right? Okay, right here you can start buffing up your Reno with your Mina. Okay, you're gonna get your Mina's ultimate, but you're not gonna use it. You only use it when the boss reapplies his plating. Use your skill 1 on Hoshina. And right here you can reapply the taunt because the boss doesn't have a plating, so you don't have to rush using your skill 1 on your Sagan. Alright, since the boss has reapplied his plating, you can go ahead and ult with your Mina right here. Again, it's very important for you to play around with your ult. Your timing on your ult matters a lot because if you ult when the boss doesn't have any plating, it's gonna be a waste. Right here, you can go ahead and use your skill 1 on your Hoshina. He's not gonna get the ultimate. You're gonna wait one extra turn. Skill 1 on your Mina because you still have the speed up buff on your entire team. Combat skill on your Reno. Nice, we didn't get the +1 SP. The boss is getting pretty low. He's at 3 health bars now. And you need to cast Sagan's S1 ultimate and also S1 once again. So he needs to survive. The boss needs to survive at all cost. Okay, the boss still has a lot of plating left. You can go ahead and use his skill 1 once again. You should be able to use your combat skill right here. But I'm actually going to buff up my random unit, just not Reno, so I don't do too much damage. Okay, when it comes to Reno, I should be able to use his combat skill right here. We're not going to ult with him just yet. We're going to use... Oh my goodness. Okay, hopefully Sagan doesn't kill right here. We're going to use her skill 1 first, then we can go ahead and ult. If he doesn't kill with the ult, we're still going to be fine because we still have another... hold on. Woo! Okay, that's so close. We should be able to break the boss plating. I think this breaks the boss's plating because the boss has one normal plating left, unless I'm mistaken. Okay, it does break the plating. We also killed the boss at the same time, so we should be able to get 300,000 right now because only my Sagan took damage and she also healed up all of the damage, right? Yeah, there we go. 300,000 on the dot. So yeah, that's about it. Those are all the missions to get you 100,000 credits. Probably not worth it. But that's about it. If you have the new Kikoru and Chester in the same team, it's going to be a cakewalk for you. But again, I really showcased you 3 teams with Kikoru, with Chester, and 1 team without all 3 of these units right here. You'll still be able to do it, but you're going to need a specific rotation for you to do it. And I would say the most important unit for this particular content is going to be a Reno and either Sagan or A4 Kaiju number 8. If you don't have these 2 units, you might not be able to get 300,000. But again, if you can't get 300,000, you're not really missing out on a lot. It's just 100,000 credits. This is mostly just for self-achievement. And yeah, that's about it. Ciao.